I'm not famous, okay? I'm one of you and vice versa, okay? Back in 1960, I was a senior in high school up in Norman, Oklahoma, and we were shown a film in an assembly program one day, put on by the American Cancer Society. It was a film, you know, with the roller and the in color that I never forgot. I can describe every frame of it. We saw a guy in color. We saw him smoking. We saw him coughing. We saw him getting X-rayed. We saw the X-ray of his lungs. One was white, one was gray, and we saw him later pushed down the corridor of the hospital to the operating room, and we watched in color as they removed this guy's lung. We got to see the incision. We got to see him take it out and put the lung on the table. We never, I guess you can tell, I've never forgot that. That was 50 years ago. I was at my 50th high school reunion last week, and we alums, we students of 1960, everybody still remembers that film. We were in the auditorium. We were in the very same auditorium we saw it in, and someone popped up and said, "Remember that film we saw here? Remember?" And they started talking about it. I hadn't said a word to them. So let's fast forward about 20 years up into the 80s, and I'm enjoying good business success here in Dallas, got a good family, life is good, and somewhere in there, it dawned on me that being born in this country is just about the best thing that can happen to a person. It's a blessing. This country is a blessing. At the same time, about that time, having kids of my own, I noticed, like we all have, that young people take their country, this country, and their freedom, and their way of life, all of this peace, this security, this fun, they just take it for granted. And I wondered all these years, you know, with young people taking their freedom and their country for granted, if this continues, they're destined to lose it all. I decided, I asked myself, for 20 years I asked myself, and I talked to friends and family and associates, why couldn't somebody produce a program like we saw in 1960 about our country, about freedom, and about patriotism that the kids would never forget? Well, one day, about 2004, 2005, I was sitting at my desk, and I don't know what prompted me to do it. 9/11 was already over, been 2 or 3 years past, and I just reached for the phone and I called a principal at a school. I called Wiley High School out on the first call. This is a miracle. I got the principal on the first call. Miracle. We have learned that's a miracle. Gary Brown. And I told him that I had in mind to produce such a program to take to the schools for free. And he said, "Where have you been?" I'll never forget that. Where have you been? From a principal. So after an emotional conversation with him, I decided, well, I better get another opinion. Let me check somebody a little further off. And I don't know why I picked on Abilene, and I got that principal on the first call. A miracle, truly a miracle. And I told him what I had in mind, and he said, "It's about time." Swear to God, this is exactly what they said. Big message there. Big message there coming from principals of big schools. So I didn't call any more schools. I just proceeded to start. In simple terms, we give teenagers the most important class of their life. You know, if you're a young person and you understand how lucky you are to have been born in America, and you understand that the hope and the opportunity that's right there at your fingertips and at your feet, all you've got to do is just go get it. If you understand what a great country this is and the price that's been paid to make it free and to keep it free, if you understand that as a young person, you're going to be fine. You're just going to be fine. And your politics is going to be fine. This is a non-political program. If anybody here can show me any politics, left or right, in this program, I'd like to hear about it because we haven't had the first one yet. We've been to 268 schools, and we've shown this to 93,717 kids, and we're getting calls from California to Maine, from Washington State to Florida every week. Thank you.